Yep.
Oh wow.
Good
Oh,
one,
so,
Garth. There we go.
well,
Hello,
well done.
everybody.
Oh,
Let's do this
hi
again.
everyone.
So,
Okay, so we should apologize. It's totally what Justin did the other week, where his microphone failed and he was talking for like 10 minutes.
exactly.
We've been talking the past 5 minutes, thinking everybody was watching.
Yeah, my
So let's
gosh.
let's start this again. Go, Frank.
So, hello, everybody, and welcome to Old World Tech Fridays, episode 7. I am Frank, or Frodo Jedi, and I am joined by Trina of Trina's Technobabble,
Hey, again.
Ryan of Everything's Broken Garage, and we're happy to have you here. We were actually just doing a spiel and telling everybody they need to go check out Will's newly released ROM Programmer. We actually put a link into the chat. Again, we thought we went live. That was my fault. Totally forgot. So we'll skip the intro segment again. So I'm glad somebody said something because we were just here yakking away, thinking everybody's here. Hey, Chris, how are you?
Oh, and we have Will. Speaking of Will, we have Will of KMac Vintage joining us tonight, who is the great mind behind, well, collaborative mind, because there's
The
other
hive mind.
hive, one of the hive. We also have RetroTech Chris, Garth Beagle, and Eric's Edge joining us, and a special hello to Flintlock. When you get a chance to watch this, I hope you had a good night's sleep.
Frank, do you feel like there's been a what is it, a glitch in the matrix? Like we've already heard this
Well,
once?
I feel like Bill Murray and Groundhog Day here. I'm telling you, we just went through
Yeah.
this whole spiel, and I'm telling everybody,
Oh, and we want
new
to say hi to our new sponsor, Burger
oh
King.
Burger King, yep, King of
Yes.
the Burgers. They'll
Yeah,
be out
Get
of business before
get your
long, so get your
Whopper.
burgers while you
yeah,
can.
yeah.
Go get your Whopper.
We've had several here on the East Coast go bankrupt and closed like 30 some restaurants or something. So
Oh dear God.
You should
yeah,
watch there's a great YouTuber called The Company Man. He goes through and looks at companies, why they're successful, why they're not, why they fail, why
yeah.
they come back,
Hey,
and he does a great
I watched that
video on
guy
Burger
that
King.
did the video on why McDonald's ice cream machine's always broken.
Yeah, yeah, because there's only
Yeah,
one manufacturer and one
yeah,
repairer. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Crazy
Anyway,
stuff, but it's
we
true.
digress.
Yeah.
So I've also found out an issue with going to sleep with the casual
Melatonin?
with the criminal
Other women.
the casual no, there's no problem with that. Uh, no, with the casual criminalists playing in the background.
Ah, yes,
Oh,
the
some
soothing
interesting
dulcet
dreams, huh?
sounds of
Well, but
Simon Whistler.
I didn't I didn't dream of murderers or mass, serial killers or anything like that. I just dreamt that everything was being narrated by Simon.
That's good.
Now, what's interesting
Did he go
going
on
along with
tangents?
this?
Did he randomly go on tangents in the middle of like he's describing what you're doing, and then he's like, "I used to have such
Yeah,
and such a
right.
thing when I was a
And
child."
here in the UK,
Yeah,
yeah,
which
right.
is funny because he's actually in Prague, but he still says here in the UK, which I think is
Oh, okay,
hilarious.
okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
What's
and
interesting is I never remember my dreams. Very rarely, like
yeah, I
maybe
don't
once
remember
a
them
year, I
either.
can remember my dreams, but
question is, have you
usually never
taken them over?
happens. But what
Have
I've
you?
started doing in the last several weeks is like I keep thinking about building an 8-bit computer, like a single board 8-bit computer from scratch.
Right.
And then I actually looked at possibly building like an Apple One replica or something like that. So what I've been doing at night is I put my AirPods in, the AirPod Pros, and then I'll lay there and I'll put on a YouTube video of somebody talking about building one and I'll fall asleep. So I'm just letting it absorb into my mind and put those
You're like the kids who fall asleep on their textbooks, hoping
yes,
the data
exactly.
will be
Yeah,
absorbed into their
absorption.
face.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. So I haven't had the urge to actually go out and buy the stuff to do it yet. So I haven't
Well,
watched enough of them yet, apparently,
and
to
and
make a
and
difference.
and have you realized that you are a gorgeous woman that doesn't need to smoke?
Well, it took me a long time, but I looked and looked and looked. Do you guys remember Rodney Dangerfield in the movie Ladybugs?
Yes.
No.
Yes. You remember the very opening scene where he's sitting in the car? He goes, "I'm good. I'm great. I'm wonderful. Everybody loves me." I looked and looked and looked for that self-help tape, but I can't find it anywhere online. But all it did was repeat the same thing over and over.
Please
So
say that
eventually, I'll
Maybe
have
because
Ron record it for me,
there you
and
go.
just loop it.
and then I'll just
Hi,
loop it.
this is Ron from Ron's Self Help Tapes.
Right.
He
Oh,
But please say somebody recognizes the reference I was making.
which
yes,
reference? I'm sorry.
I said that you're a sexy, strong woman that doesn't need to smoke.
Correct.
I don't.
I recognize there's a reference. I just don't remember what movie or
It,
show.
it's
It
been
is
a
from
long week.
the TV show Friends. It's when
Oh,
Chandler was trying to quit
See,
smoking.
I've never watched
I'm a
Friends.
Seinfeld guy.
Yeah, me
Yeah,
too.
See,
it's interesting.
No soup for you.
You're either
either
Seinfeld or
Seinfeld.
you're Friends. Like,
See,
Yeah,
and
it is
I
weird.
think Seinfeld is aged better than Friends because I've watched some episodes of Friends. I'm like, this is cringeworthy. Like, this would not pass. Like,
oh yeah,
and
yeah.
there are some Seinfelds that are kind of borderline, but I think there are more
Well, I tell you,
cringy.
there's at least one former Friends alum who's definitely aged better than everybody on Seinfeld.
Hmm.
Just saying.
In fact, I would
Putting that
argue
out
she
there.
is. I would argue she is better looking now than she was back in Friends times.
Sure.
I totally agree with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy
Just
how that works.
watch We're the
Trina,
Millers.
we've had some new people join
Yeah,
the
I
Oh
see
chat.
yes,
that. We have Mr. Lopez. We have
Hmm.
Retro Techie.
Ishmael is here.
And
Yay, Ishmael.
Jim. Yeah, Jim's here.
Yep.
I nearly slipped and said Jim's name. Uh,
Ishmael.
Retro Techie, we miss your face. We don't know what happened
Yeah.
with
What?
you
You
or
haven't
why
done any
you've been
videos?
missing in action.
I
No, I
know.
saw he did a
Where's
video. He did a live the other day. I
No,
Yeah,
watched.
I know, and I'm
that was
totally missed it.
100%.
I
That
was
was
asleep.
100% AI generated. Did you watch it?
Yeah, I watched it
100% AI generated.
Oh,
because
you
he got the new Trinitron.
Yeah,
could you
Yeah.
tell it was AI generated because he didn't ask for anything for free?
exactly.
Well, there was nobody there to ask.
Doesn't matter.
He still would be throwing it out there. We
Oh,
love
shoot.
you, Retro
This
Techie.
is how we will know Retro Techie has been like kidnapped in the video that's released. He won't mention getting anything, and we'll go. He's kidnapped. We
Well,
got to call the police.
Right?
so that's the new verge on tech right now. Is there's a lot of new startup companies coming out with things as far as ways to detect what is artificial in our world today and what is not because of all this new
Yeah,
AI driven things.
it's not anti AI. It's AI.
Yeah, it's AI that's using
AI
AI to
AI
search for
AIO.
AI. Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. AEIO and U are vowels, and
No,
sometimes Y. Yeah, it's
EIEIO.
very
Old
confusing.
MacDonald was a robot.
Oh, so
That could be.
I'm gonna show something off here.
Oh God.
Oh God. So I have
Avert your eyes.
this motherboard up for sale.
That is an interesting fan.
What kind of
Tell us
processors
about
in
that
that?
cooler.
It is a single uh
It's a single core gaming computer. It
Yeah.
can play the Minecraft.
it it can play
Nothing past the first block.
it can play the Warcraft 2.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank
No,
you.
it's
Right away.
it's a first gen i7, 2.07 gigahertz. So I had somebody today ask me if this was still available on Facebook Marketplace. And I said, yes, it is. And then he said, oh, I live blah, 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 blah place about 2
And
hours.
did they reference Tides of Darkness?
No,
Warcraft 2?
no, they didn't reference Warcraft 2. No,
Mhm.
that was a
So,
great game, though.
they were probably
Was.
looking to play StarCraft then.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
probably.
Right away.
And then so
Yes, sir.
so he said, oh, I live 2 hours away. And I'm like, well, I live in downtown Toronto. And he's like, well, I don't drive. And I'm like, well, I can ship it to you for blah, blah, dollars.
Hmm.
And he's like, I have no cash, but you send me the board, I'll send you a PS5.
Perfect. You send me the
That
PS5.
doesn't sound fishy.
No, not at all.
I will gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today.
Right? And and then I had somebody on eBay asking me about the case that I took this out of. And they're like, I want to put a 240 mil fan in it. And I'm like, first I asked about a motherboard. I Googled the motherboard, went, yeah, that'll fit. And then just as I was replying, I got another email. Will it take a 240 mil fan? I'm like, liquid cool this thing, buddy.
It'll
Like,
take a box fan if you have the right tools.
I said no. I said yes. It'll take your motherboard and won't take the fan. And he said, great, I'll buy it. But this person has a 1 beside in their name, like that's their rating. So I'm not holding my breath to get paid.
No, definitely not.
No.
Cash up front.
Show
buddy.
me the
Cash up
money.
front.
Well, it's eBay.
So, yeah.
So yeah, they got to pay first.
Yeah, you got to Jerry Maguire him. Show me the money.
Yep.
Cool. I
Awesome.
had someone reach out to me. I was selling a copy of all the Grand Theft Auto games for PS3. So 4, 5, and Liberty City, I think.
Okay.
Or 3, 4, 5, and Liberty City. I can't remember. Anyway, it was a bunch of Grand Theft Auto games that I got because I bought a lot of video games, and I'm like, I already own these. I don't need them.
Right.
Hello, I'm the greatest barrister, John Warrar. If you Mail me your motherboard. I will send you $1,000 via US via no, it's 1,000 iTunes dollars.
I
Target gift
um
cards.
oh
Um,
Send me your Kohl's cash.
I
anyway, before
just send me your email, John, and I will gladly do that.
um, two things before
They will.
or I'm going to continue and then I got another point. So they reach out to me. They're in Latvia and they asked me if I would ship to Latvia. And before I even had it answered, they had purchased it and they must have used like a third party
Oh
shipping
boy.
company out of Vancouver because it's the same eBay buyer but with like a address and a name in Vancouver. So I can only assume that they're drop shipping it or they're doing some
Probably
sort of
like Will, where he has a, what do they call
yeah.
that? Freight forwarder kind of thing.
Yeah, so I was just like, all right, whatever. Into the envelope. I don't care. It was like $10 for 3 games. I will pay people to take my Kohl's cash. Yeah, you can also have my Sears gift cards and my Bed Bath and Beyond gift cards.
That's right. Kmart.
Kmart. Oh my God, I remember Kmart back in the day.
Remember Zellers?
Uh,
Zellers is back
Hmm
at the
Sellers
Hudson Bay.
they had the best restaurants
Oh, they
in
did. It was
them,
awesome. The
right?
Sara Lee like coconut cream pie was just to die
Hmm
for. To
hmm
die for.
Actually,
Anyway,
when they closed out the one near home, they had you could go in and buy everything. They were selling off the
everything,
store.
fixtures, everything was for
oh
sale.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like you could buy like they had the entire restaurant, which had
Yeah.
been shut down at that point. You
Yeah.
could buy silverware, the coffee makers, you name it.
The deep fryers, everything was for
Yeah,
sale.
yeah.
Yeah. But that Kmart or not Kmart, Zellers is back now at Hudson Bay Company.
I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, in Nova Scotia actually. My sister-in-law was there a couple of weeks ago, and bought
Where
my wife a.
was that in Micmac?
Yeah, it's in the Hudson Bay in Micmac. They have a
Yeah.
section now that is Zellers.
Hmm,
So they had like a bunch of Zeddy Teddy t-shirts and stuff. I know we're going full
nice.
Canadian here, but they had a bunch of Zeddy Teddy stuff, and it was pretty cool.
Hold on for a
Anyway,
second. Let me.
Zellers is our Kmart for anybody wondering.
Mm.
We also had Kmart, but Kmart left in around 90. So Kmart left. Bye, Frank. It's just
Oh,
Canadians.
I just kicked him out because I figured if we're having a Canadian moment, we
Canadians.
don't the American in here.
Okay, then, eh. So we're going to have a little fireside chat. We can take off the American accents now and talk in the
Right?
Canadian way, eh?
Totally, eh?
Yes, buddy. Right on me, son. Yes, we gets on the go here now. Has a grand old chat. Oh, the American's back. We got to talk normal now.
Yeah, yeah. We have to talk like he'll
Speak the King's
understand us
English.
I have to talk real slow
really slow
with
here.
purpose.
Yeehaw.
Do you understand
We
what
love you,
I'm
Frank.
saying?
I do.
But yeah, so Zellers, yeah, was our
Yeah,
Canadian. So we actually had Kmart too. That left probably around 90. So it was 97 or 98 because the Star Wars had been re-released in theaters. And I remember at their like going out of business sale, I bought a bunch of Star Wars figurines that had been reissued. So it
right.
had to be like 97, 98 that happened.
Yeah, I think they're both there. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't remember when Kmart. I remember Kmart. Yeah,
But I'll
there
tell
was
you
a
what I
big
was the
one.
most sad about was Target leaving New Canada.
I
I
don't know.
love Target.
I went into Target a couple times and just went, meh. What's all the
But see, what I
noise
liked about
about?
it, it was Walmart. It wasn't far off the price of Walmart, but it was clean all the time, and there was no like people of Walmart.
Yeah, but
That's the whole premise of Target.
Yeah, I didn't have to look at like an overweight person with a pair of sweatpants on that said "juicy" on the arse.
Well,
yeah.
I think the
Lightweight,
whole thing
However,
is Target doesn't let you ride those carts around the stores like Walmart.
and that's what
however,
keeps them
ho-
out.
however, you may not have the people of Walmart and Target, but you have the bigots of Target that aren't in
That's true.
Walmart.
That's true.
Fair enough, fair. But what you
So,
also have is Starbucks. So
interesting news from this past week. I'd noticed Disney's closing their intergalactic themed Star Wars
intergalactic,
hotel.
galactic, galactic,
Yeah,
intergalactic, intergalactic. They're closing their
$2
Beastie
billion
Boys ride.
hotel. Yeah,
Wow.
their $2 billion
Where
hotel.
is that, by the way? What's
It's in
Florida.
Florida.
Florida? Okay.
Yeah. So I think the problem is they're not closing it. They're closing it to revamp it. What they're going to do is they're going to bring it back, but not be $6,000 a visit.
Yeah.
That's all they're going to do. They're going to bring it back, and it's going to be like $2,500 now, and they're going to take out some of the fancy BS that they don't need to do.
Yeah, it's $1,200 per person per night, and that really doesn't include anything extra.
No,
It's
you want to do
just
the
your hotel.
yeah.
What?
So it's $6,000 essentially for a family of 3
Yeah.
for 2 nights, and that's
Yeah.
not even the full 48 hours.
No.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
Will says they're closing to piss off the governor. That is
I
quite
believe it.
possible.
That's why
But
they
I also think
canceled their new big
but I also think it's
multi-billion-dollar investment
I think
too.
it's also because they're not making as much money off it as they thought they would.
Well, yeah,
Because
but like
$6,000 a night, that's pretty expensive.
yeah. I mean, you can do all-inclusive resort stays for that much.
Yeah.
So I don't
But
know if you
I
guys
I
watch.
really
Sorry, go ahead.
sorry, go ahead. What I was gonna say is I really think the entire premise of the Star Wars hotel was crap to begin with. They based it all on new Star Wars,
Right,
which has
Uh,
zero fan investment,
but it has
and
future
not
fan
old
investment.
Star Wars.
But it
right.
has future fan investment. Plus, they don't have to
Yeah, in
pay for
like
the
20 years, who's
But they
gonna
don't have
pay
to
for
pay
that
for the
crap?
but they don't have to pay for the likeness of Luke Skywalker. They don't have to pay for the likeness of Leia.
Well,
Like,
they already
sure,
own them.
but no, they don't, because they still have to pay the for the likenesses, right? Like, there's still
Not Carrie
residual.
Fisher.
Yeah, her family would still have to be paid.
Mm-hmm.
Her
No,
her estate would
most of
still
them
have
are
to be
gone.
paid,
Yeah,
right?
her state. But either way,
Right.
it's
The only
just
one they technically own is James Earl Jones, and they only own his voice. That's the only thing he gave them, was his voice.
I gotta check out the stuff.
Now, does that require using the 3 seashells? I forget, because that's very confusing.
it
Sorry,
is.
Demolition Man reference.
Yeah, that was a hilarious movie.
That
But
movie has
yeah,
I haven't
aged
seen
really
that in an
well.
age.
it has.
Yeah.
But what's crazy about the Disney hotel situation is though, like I don't know what made them think that somebody was going to pay that much money for something that really wasn't that well invested in.
I
They
think
spent
it's
a crap ton of
because,
money on the
but,
experience, but
but I think it's one of those things they've made. Like, they bought the Star Wars IP for what,
sure.
$4 billion.
Yep.
They've made that 10
Oh
times
yeah, already. Yeah,
in the last
absolutely.
12 years,
Hmm.
right? So, like, realistically, they're like, we can spend some money, and if we don't make it, it's not a huge, like, we'll just pump out a couple more movies, a couple of more TV shows. The Mandalorian's got like 2 seasons left.
Yeah, but
The
even
Obi-Wan.
pre-COVID, who had an extra $6,000 for 2 nights to dump?
I don't think it matters, because what they're going to do is they've figured out all the people that are going to go see that for
Hmm.
$6,000. Now they're going to retool, and they're going to do $2,000, and they're going to do that for 6 months, year, 2 years, 5 years. And then they're going to retool it again, and they're going to get all the people who want to do it for a
Well,
thousand
that's what
dollars.
all the reviewers were talking about. They
Right.
thought that they would just drop the price down a little bit and then see what happens. But nope, they
Hmm.
went straight to close it down.
But I
They
think there's
were
just
I,
only
I
doing
wonder.
like 2 nights a week anyway or something
they
like
You know
were,
what?
but
that.
I think it's just to retool it. It's
You
just
know
Yeah.
what they. You know what they need to do, because now Disney owns MASH. They need to reopen it as a MASH themed hotel. Just saying.
no, they just have to have Klinger going around as a Disney princess, and that'll
Well,
be fine.
that works too.
Yeah,
Working at the Bippity Boppity Boutique.
yeah.
Oh.
I'm not actually wearing this dress because I like it. I'm wearing it because I'm trying to get out on a Section 8.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. If you like it, you can still wear it. It's 2023. It's okay now.
So should we actually talk about maybe tech stuff?
Well, I think that's what Frank was getting on with
Yeah.
when it comes to Star Wars. I think it. I think there are
I think
different levels
going
of
back to the
fandom.
vintage tech would have
Oh,
been
I
a
see. Yeah, yeah,
better atmosphere for
yeah. I
everybody.
think.
It'd be
Yeah.
more relatable if you went on the Millennium Falcon instead of the new cruiser.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, they have a cantina, and they have the cantina bar. So that, honestly, that's the
Yeah.
only reason I
But
would go.
honestly, they
Oh, one of
could
the
have
drinks is
done the
$5,000,
cantina thing. Yeah. It's
which is
just
mind-boggling. Like,
astronomical.
I'm
Yeah.
paying $6,000, and then for $5,000 more, I can have this drink. That's a first world problem.
Yeah.
You understand now why everybody else hates us.
What's that?
We sell a $5,000 drink to a $6,000 venue.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's just crazy. It's just
But
crazy.
No,
I think
you
I think
haven't.
what'll happen is
You
they'll end
haven't.
up.
Oh, and hi, one bit. You haven't missed
Oh, hey,
anything yet.
yeah,
We've just been kind of rambling.
rambling and ranting. I think what'll end up happening is they'll retool it. It'll be $2,000, for
But
an
I wonder. I
experience.
wonder if they retool it, if they'll also open it as something like not a Star Wars theme,
No,
like
it'll
some
still be Star
other.
Wars,
I
because
don't
they
You
know.
think?
they spent way too much money on the actual, like, look and feel. Even if they go back and bring in C3PO and
So
R2D2 and all the
Yeah.
all the new stuff, they'll
I'll
still
put
make it stay the same way. It'll
I'll
Okay.
still
put my
look the same.
opinion recorded on video here for posterity's sake. I would bet money that the entire Star Wars park declines and goes out within the next 2-3 years. I'd bet money on it.
I'm going to
I
I'm going to
just
go
don't
the
see it as
I'm going to go the
a big
opposite
money
and say
maker.
that Disney doubles down and actually expands it.
Maybe in California.
Nope, in Florida.
I don't know. I don't think so. I really
You don't
don't.
think so?
I think they'll move on to something else.
I know, because you look at, like, I always use Harry
They have to
Potter,
pivot.
Harry Potter Land as a a metric. Like that
Well,
place is
Universal gets you
pumping,
there.
right? Like,
It's two separate parks. You got to
yeah,
pay to get into the one park in order to even get to the other park.
Mhm.
So yeah, they really built it well there.
They did. And last time I was in Universal and in Disney was 2006, so it's been a while
Hmm.
since I visited. And myself and my wife have been planning on going back, but that was just prior to COVID. We literally had
Yeah,
tickets booked. We were going to go, and then COVID happened. Um, because
exactly.
she's a huge Disney nut. So I would say I think they're going to double down. I think
Well,
because they own the IP, they have nothing to lose.
I was an annual pass holder for years,
Yeah,
and maybe 2 years before COVID, I dropped it because they stopped all the perks that were included with it. It wasn't worth it anymore. It wasn't.
right.
So I wasn't getting anything for going down a couple times a year. It just wasn't worth it.
Right.
So I just wanna comment on Will's post here. Show it off. And he said, "I can't see Disney spend in Florida
And
type
I
of
agree.
deal." Uh,
I don't think it'll
how?
happen either.
But here's the issue: you can get rid of the cause, but you still have the cancer.
Hmm.
So you get rid of the symptom, but you
You
still have
get
the
rid of the
cancer.
symptom, yeah,
Yeah.
but you still have the main issue, which is Republicans, and right wing folks that are still in the majority in Florida.
Right. But again, I don't think you'll ever get rid of them. Like they've been there
Oh
since
no, no,
the
no, I'm
Oh
not.
they've been
yeah.
since the
But
industry.
what I'm
You might as well just
give
ignore
up,
them and look at Disney being a separate country or a
yeah,
separate state,
Sure.
yeah,
right?
because I don't think, as I said, I you can get rid of DeSantis all you want, but you still have
Yeah.
the issue. Like
Yeah.
Hmm.
they can still replace him with somebody else that's even more right wing,
Yeah.
because the Republican Party seems to go, how much? Hold my beer. Let's see how
Double
much more
down.
crazy I can be.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
than the last guy.
See, it seems to be a very Florida type attitude. So this is why I think Disney gonna double down.
Well, it could be.
But who do you know? Like, I can't see like being open 6 months or however whether they've been open a year now. I can't see
18 months.
Yeah, I can't say so. A year and a half. I can't see that being enough logistic and empirical data to say, yeah, this is not working.
Right.
Right. I'm sure they can say, yeah, this is not working at this price, but I can't see them be like, all right, we're going to scrap the $1 billion we just spent on, and they've already spent it, so they might as well keep it. Like,
So here's what Disney needs to do. They need to invest and reopen a show called Hotel Hell with Gordon Ramsay, and then he can go in and fix the hotel.
There you
Hmm.
go. Or fix the hotel, or don't call it hotel hell, call it like theme park hell.
Retro Techie wants to know anyone upgrading their Macs
Oh.
this year because of the now
The,
OS requirements.
the new OS requirements. I think is what he's
That's
saying.
yeah. Well, that makes sense because what is the new? So I'm running the new
So there are
Mac
only
OS on
four.
this
There are only
machine.
4 Intel machines that can upgrade. I think, if I'm not mistaken.
I think they're 2019 and up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they have to be a 2019 at least.
I
And
think they might
speaking,
just be the Pros and the MacBook Pro. Is the Air included? I'm not sure if the Air is included. The Intel Air is included.
Let's take a look. So
I don't have a clue there.
I'm running Sonoma now on this computer that I'm streaming on.
Yeah, but that's an M1, isn't it?
M1,
and
yeah.
yeah,
Excuse me. Yeah.
yeah.
So I'd say you're fine.
Not surprised. But yeah, interesting enough, I actually had somebody contact me. I sold them what was it? A 2014 iMac a while ago.
Okay,
And
so it's
now they're
Coffee
like,
Lake / Amber Lake chips or later. So
Gotcha.
2017 and up, essentially.
oh no, it
Right.
was it was a 2011 iMac, the 21.5 inch that only supported up to 1013. And he
Right.
contacted me the other day, and I gotta call him tomorrow and talk to him about it, because like I want to upgrade to something that can run the newest OS, and I'm basically going to say get an M series
Yeah.
iMac
Basically.
then.
So here you go. So macOS Sonoma requirements right from Apple. iMac Pro 2017 or later.
So the
iMac
Pro.
2019 or later.
Yep.
Mac Pro 2019 or later. Mac Studio 2022 and later.
Yeah, that
MacBook
makes sense.
Air 2018 or later. Mac Mini 2018 or later. And Mac Pro 2018 or later.
Sorry,
So
what was the
so the
what was the
18.
iMac one?
iMac was 2019 or later.
So that's an
Yeah.
M1. right?
No, because you can still get the Intels in
The
2019.
only one you can go is iMac Pro 2017 is the latest one.
Right,
Okay.
because that's the
Yeah.
i7.
Yeah, because it has to be an 8th gen Coffee Lake or an Amber Lake chip.
Right,
Right.
Those are the oldest chips that they support.
right. You know, I talked about this a lot, like 2 streams ago or 3 streams ago. I said I think that they're going to be putting out more M processors just so they can drop the Intel
Oh yeah.
support as quickly as possible,
Yep.
and this falls right into line with this,
It
Yeah.
right?
does.
Like
Yeah,
if
give
and,
it
and it
give it
makes total
give it a
sense. Like
couple more releases and there will be no Intel.
two
No.
more
Yep.
OS releases and there won't be any Intel.
Yep.
Mark my words.
I don't think they're going to wait
Now,
that
sorry,
long. I say
sorry. I think
I say one more Mac
no, I'm going to
OS
say
release.
2 more OS releases, and
Okay.
on the second release, it's going to be only the Intel
Yep.
base Pro desktop that can upgrade.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they still sold those last year for like 50 grand. They're not going to like
Right.
drop
Right. Right.
support
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
those.
Yeah.
Which means that there still will be an ability if it works on an i7 whatever somebody will make
Someone open a core, yeah.
for it, right? But once
Yeah.
it goes all M, that's going to be a fun
Yeah,
project.
Retrocheck is right. I think probably another
I
year or
think
so.
one
Another
more
year.
year.
But that's the thing.
I'd
Like
say maybe 18 months. It might be a half step.
I'm gonna say 2 years because they got some
Mhm.
businesses they need to support. Like example Pixar. Pixar. How many Mac Pros does Pixar have? A lot, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
I can't see them being like, "Well, Pixar. I know they're only 2.5, 3 years old, but you got to get rid of them."
But they've done
Good
that
luck
in
to you.
Apple's done that in the past.
That's true.
They have, but I don't
And
think
went,
they've.
you got
Well,
these new
even
Macs, sucks to be you. You got to get all new software and everything. So
So what's everybody's
yeah.
take on the new goggles?
shit.
Well,
I've priced up everything. Like Linus did a great video where they priced up everything. It's about $2,500 in what it would replace,
sure.
right?
Okay.
So basically, you're paying $1,000 for the Apple tax, which realistically is what you pay for most things for the Apple tax anyway,
Right.
right? I can buy a shitty laptop for $400 new, or for $1,400, I could buy a MacBook Air, right? That'll do my basic functionalities. If I'm only checking email and that kind of stuff, we'll do the basic things.
Yeah.
So I think it's on par for Apple. I think what they're going to end up doing is they'll come out with a cheaper, like an SE version. That'll
Sure.
probably be $2,000 or 1,500
Well,
bucks.
my whole
So,
thing is like
oh,
they screwed things up on the battery life, the biggest, I think.
Right, and the fact you have to tether seems
Max
a little
max 2 hours. Like most movies are over 2 hours.
mhm.
right.
So
But
like you
most people,
can't
if they're
even
watching a
finish a
movie,
movie.
but if you're watching a movie, you're sat in a chair, so you can plug in. Like that's their mentality. I understand.
That's
It's their
just silly though.
mentality, right?
And
It's like if
it's
I'm sitting watching a movie on my current MacBook M1, I'm plugging it in if I'm sat at a chair.
Well, even that, like if you're doing other things, like I don't know, like
I'm not out mowing the
living
grass while
your
I'm
life,
watching Lord of the Rings,
so
but you could be.
here was
but I won't because that's terrible.
I saw an interesting article on Monday on Reddit, and I read it, and it was talking about the investors, Apple's investors, who were going, who were totally against the whole goggles things and wanted them more to focus on like chat GTP stuff and that side of things, because they're like, this is where the future is. The goggles
Yeah,
aren't.
but Apple's not a software company. I know people are going to get mad at me for saying that. They make software only to support their hardware. They're a
No,
hardware company,
I
Sure.
get that. Yeah, yeah.
right? So like,
But
if Apple wants AI, they're just going to buy something like Google did.
I think the goggles are going to go down in history as the Newton. In
And
the
no, and I agree with
same breath of the
Retrotechy there.
Newton.
People said the iPad was just a big iPod Touch, and how did that turn out for them? Like
No,
people
I
See,
thought
the
think
the
thing
iPad
is
was
if they keep dumping money into it, I'm sure they'll have a nice version,
yeah.
but not this one.
It's kind of like buying the
and
first version of anything from Apple, like the first
Exactly.
Intel iMac or the
and
first
Yep.
Intel MacBook. You were like, yeah, I'm not going to buy that.
here was also
Yep.
one complaint about it. You and your wife watch movies together, Ryan.
Sure.
Right?
But now with the goggles, you're not watching it together, if you know what
That's
I mean. Like you
fantastic because
can't.
I can watch Die Hard for the 950th time, and
Well, here you
she can
go.
watch Walk to Remember, and I don't have to watch that garbage.
You pay
Everybody wins.
$1,000 more than you would have going to the shitty Star Trek, or the Star Wars hotel,
Yeah,
and
and you
then
get
you
somebody
both have a
bolt to your
pair,
face. Yeah,
and you
There
don't
you
have to
go.
go anywhere.
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And I agree with Apple Tech Retro Tech Chris.
Yeah, Apple is a
Apple is a
marketing
Apple
marketing
is
company.
company.
100% a marketing
Yeah.
company. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm going to go on record on this video to say the 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 eyes. That's what I like to call them. Because I was joking with a guy at work. I'm like, yeah, the eye. They should have called them the eyes. Bring back the whole eye
Steve
concept.
Jobs would spin so quickly in his grave, we could start generating power from his coffin.
But I still say it here and now. It's a dead product.
Yeah.
I don't
See,
think it will be because they refuse to admit a bad product. They
yeah.
will continue to, again, like I expect Disney to double down, Apple will double down.
Oh, they'll double down,
Well,
but they're going to lose money on this. This is a
what's
lost money.
Uh,
I
I'm
think they're going
kind
to
of
lose money on this
so
one.
we all knew it was coming, because the rumors and stuff like
Well,
that.
yeah,
Everybody
yeah.
knew it was coming. But I'm still kind of disappointed that after all these years of not releasing a new product, this is the new one that they decided to come out with.
I'm
Yeah.
disappointed that after watching Microsoft fuck it up, Google fuck it up,
Facebook.
Facebook fuck it up,
See?
they're like, "Hey, Buzz, you know what we're gonna try? We're gonna try
Hold,
Yeah.
some
hold,
virtual
hold our
reality."
beer.
Yeah,
We're going to
Yeah.
fuck it up even
Yeah.
worse. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. But
It's
I
like,
mean, as far as cost goes, I think they're very much on par.
yeah, like like
That's a typical Apple price.
yeah,
I,
like
I
K-Max
wouldn't
says. I
say
mean,
it's not crazy.
you look at the new iPhone. A new iPhone is gonna set you back $1,600, almost $2,000.
Yep.
Hmm.
So what's $3,400 for something that you bolt to your
Exactly.
face,
Yep.
right? Like that
But
makes total sense.
I also think they're releasing it at the wrong time. The market is horrible right now for people. $3,500. Mm,
No, see, Trina, I don't believe that because everybody in California went out and bought $100,000 Tesla because they could. So
There's
yeah.
more
people
and
are
more here than I've ever seen.
yeah, people are financing themselves to the fucking limit,
Well, yeah.
Oh
See,
yeah.
and they just because they got
Well,
to keep up with the
I,
Joneses, so they will buy
no,
these things.
everybody's on the same thing. Like, society shit. Everything's falling apart. Fuck it. Let's max it out.
Yeah,
We're just
yeah.
gonna max out our
yeah,
cards. Go
and
up to
hope
debt
that
to
the
our
world
eyeballs.
ends before
Exactly
The
before
bill
the bill
banker
comes in.
comes.
comes build.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly. Exactly.
Before the big burly man comes with baseball bats and go, we want our money.
hey, are you Bill
Yeah.
Gates? I am. Buy him out, boys, and they beat up Homer Simpson's
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
flip over his table.
Let me
Now,
see
Trina,
here.
those who have $3,500 have 30. Yeah, exactly.
No, no, I realize that, but I'm still
Right.
saying
Like
But
I
I'm
look
with
at
Will
there
too. This is going to be
there
even a more of a
and
disconnect
I
between
say
real
in
people
today's
interaction.
economy though there are fewer and fewer people with an extra 3,500 just burning a hole in their pocket.
but people like but then by the same cut of the same cloth they shouldn't be selling as many iPhones as they are, but they are.
Yeah,
So
I know.
what they're going to do with these glasses, they're going to be subsidized. You're going to
Yeah.
see cell phone companies subsidizing because hey, what, the next this version I'm not sure takes a eSIM card, but the next one will, and they will be a cellular device, and you'll pay $100 a month for 3 years or 2 years to
Mhm.
have access to this thing that you bolt to your face.
Well, my
I
whole
mean,
thing
they might
is,
as well have just made a skin that looks like a face hugger
yeah,
from
Yeah.
if you
Half-Life.
want, if you want augmented reality, just go buy yourself a case of beer, drink yourself stupid, and call it a night. Spend $35
I
instead of
love Retro
3,500.
Techie's comment
Not
when
to
they can buy a
not to
pellet.
open wounds, Trina, but you could also have $4,000 of non-existent laptops. So
Yeah.
sorry,
Schrodinger's laptops.
Yeah, right.
sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, Trina. I apologize.
That's
Um,
okay. It's all good.
but yeah, I mean, there you go, Eric. So goggles with ads. That's going to be another thing. Is
Yeah.
they're going to have so many ads like
Was it
coming at you on these
was it
stupid things.
Futurama where they had ads in your dream?
Yes,
Like
yes,
that's
Yeah,
the next
yeah,
step, right?
yep,
yeah, yeah.
yep. And most of them were Mom's Corporation
Yeah.
ads.
Yeah. Buy what was it? Mom's robot oil for
Yeah,
less squeaky robots.
that's right. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm just disappointed that out of all the new products they could have come out with, like
Mhm.
this
This is
was the
what they
one
came
that
out
they
with.
bet money
Yeah.
on. It's
Yeah.
just it's disappointing.
And I think they've run out of bags of Steve Jobs and
Johnny Ives.
Johnny Ives
Yeah.
ideas. Like they're done now, right? Like they've been done for a couple of years. Tim Cook is a fair to Midland administrator.
Hmm.
He's not an idea guy,
No.
right?
He
He
did
is a
supply chain.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. He's a how do we get it to the
Yeah.
people and
Yep.
how do we run a company?
Yeah.
Um, and realistically, Apple is just a tech company. Like they're no different than Microsoft. They're no different than they
Well,
want to.
they kind of to be fair, they are kind of
To be fair,
different than Microsoft because, as you said, they're a hardware company that also builds their
Right.
OS to work on their
Right.
hardware, whereas
And
in
Microsoft is
Microsoft
the
just kind
opposite.
of goes, here's a motherboard from Asus, here's this, piece it all
I
together and
agree.
say it works.
I agree with Will. They don't have much more new that they can come out with for now, but the goggles can become a major platform because they are marketing this as a whole new operating system, whole new platform, whole new experience.
And I think
So
it's
I,
going to
I get
lead
that.
towards implants, and it's going to lead
Sure.
towards human augmentation, we'll say, which is realistically we're going to reach a point where we've decreased the nanometers that silicon can go to, and we're going to
Hmm.
start talking about graphene and other types of atom-based computing, quantum
Yep.
computing, and we're going to also talk about
I
who
mean, I could see
augmented.
these goggles integrating with your Tesla, going
Right.
back to Tesla. And
Mm.
that's how you drive your car. You can drive it with these goggles from the back seat or wherever the hell you want
Well,
to eat your
Apple's
sandwich.
Apple's already said the next generation of CarPlay will be a full car management system. So the
Yes.
idea is your car is dumb; it has no computers. It just has a multicast or
Yep.
Apple CarPlay device, and you literally sit in it. You can, oh, I want this. I want the tachometer here. I want the
Oh
speedometer
yeah, fully
there. I
movable.
want,
Everything's
and
widgets.
everything is, and it's all. And no matter what car you get into, as soon as you
Yep.
connect, it auto configures the car for your
Right,
desires
right.
and
For your
wants.
yep, exactly. The
Preloads all
dashboard's
your
just a
all your
screen.
software. It's just a screen, right? It's
Yep.
just a.
Mhm.
It is
It's
literally
just
just a
like
screen.
user preferences for how you want your seat positioned in the car, like
Right.
Exactly,
the programmable.
right?
Yep.
Microsoft is a company whose garbage software is always broken on my work surface.
I
I
just wanted to comment on that because today, good old Microsoft, um, so we use Intune to download a lot of our software.
yep.
Guess whose servers went tits up today for 2 hours while I'm
Again,
trying to get work on laptops?
but you know what? Bell went out for the half the province of Newfoundland today. Like
Oh, did they
people
really?
shitting on software. Like I'm not a Microsoft apologist. I'm an agnostic when it comes to computers. I use
Right.
everything.
Yeah, yeah.
However, I will say, Microsoft has a lot of shit going on. Like they literally have to support every piece of hardware known to man. Right?
Oh
Like
yeah.
they've talked about they're finally going to remove 386 and 486 support
Yep.
from the kernel.
And
How the hell is that still there?
Eric, I'm gonna join you. I'm gonna say the old woman here remains unimpressed.
But she was unimpressed. She was not. You can't satisfy her. She's unimpressed from the beginning. So here we
Yeah.
are. As for Surfaces, I've had great experiences with Microsoft products from hardware related. Like as an integrator, I think it's as good, if not, on par with Apple for integration and for working. Like, and again, I've worked in full Microsoft houses, and I've worked in split Microsoft houses, and I've worked in standalone houses that have no, they use Gmail for email, they use Surface for the computer, and they have an iPhone, which is like three of the complete different spectrums of the same type of provider.
Oh, and
So
and, and by the way, the goggles should actually succeed. I will give credit where credit's due because Garth is no longer working there, so they won't break like his GPUs.
allegedly.
Like his GPUs that he put in
Well,
those
see,
laptops.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. Back in the day, if the laptop GPU overheated and cooked itself, you might have burned your lap. We're literally talking about people's eyes right now.
Burning your sockets out.
Yeah,
That's right.
it's going to
Well,
be that.
that's how Joseph Smith found God,
Right, he burned his
was with
eyes
the
out.
Apple Vision. Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
Anyway, we
And then
digress.
Eric Wrangler said, "Let's wait for the full body Apple."
Well,
Epic.
going, and this might be a great segue for you, Trina. But going into Elon Musk and Twitter, they've started sponsoring this like you die in the game, you die in real world uh, interactive
Oh my God,
headpiece.
they headset. Yeah,
Yeah, right.
that
So
was a
What
like,
real
the?
product.
Okay,
They
I don't know
they
what's going on
invested
with
a
this.
crap ton of money into these essentially like the Oculus or whatever Meta
Okay.
headset, but they made ones for gaming where if you die in the game,
you
it
die in
kills
real life.
you
It
in
kills you.
real
It
life.
has
Like
it
that's
has
a
the
real
same thing they
product
killed
that they
cows
made.
with. One of those
Yes.
compressed air
Yep.
pistons that
Poof.
like
Yep.
right to your head.
Dead. Literally. They made that.
Yeah.
Yes.
What the fuck is
They
wrong
spent
with you
money
people in the
developing this.
states?
Yes.
What is
Yes.
wrong with you people in the states?
Well, people watched that Korean show. What was that called on
Uh,
Oh,
Netflix?
the Squid Games.
Squid Games. Yeah.
thank you.
There you go. There you go.
There's
Craziness.
and we also joke about it, but like the suicide machines in Futurama. Like
Ender's Game.
I could see that being
I love the books.
yeah, the movies were terrible.
The movie was not good, but the
No.
books were so good.
It's amazing how Hollywood tends to fuck that up, isn't it?
I know.
So Eric's Edge asked, how do you update the NVIDIA drivers on the Google without
On a floppy drive port.
Well, you have to
Use the
blink 3
infrared.
times
No,
with
use
just
the
your left and then once with the right.
you use the infrared port. It's a 26. What is it? 2600 baud infrared port. That's how you update it.
Mhm.
Using your Toshiba Tecra laptop from 1995, running Windows 95, or your
You need
compact
to
stereo
Speaking of
running.
which,
bring out the compact.
hey,
Does it have
RetroTech,
Does it have an infrared port?
hold it up again.
That's a good question for Chris. I
Actually,
don't know.
hold it up. I'm going to make it big.
Usually there's like a
It'll be
black
big.
square
There you go.
somewhere. Is there a black square on the front or side?
There is on the back.
Yep, that's an
You
infrared
you
port.
should tell people who you get this from.
Yeah, tell us about it.
I got this from RetroTech Chris.
Careful,
He
you're squishing the
mailed
screen.
it to me. Sorry, I had to push the mouse so that you can take it off the screensaver. It has an IR port and a serial port.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, it's running Windows 3.11, DOS,
So,
I think 622,
Frank,
and Windows 95.
that's what you should. You know, your Raspberry Pi. We were talking about piping out the TTL from your Raspberry
Yeah.
Pi. You should connect it to the serial port on that, and run like Hyperterm,
Well, there you go.
and then you can
That'd be a
program
cool
your Raspberry
project.
Pi. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Garth says
Yeah,
it's
but this thing
beautiful.
isn't great. Yeah, I was gonna
Garth, you
say,
can't
this thing
say
is
that.
in
It's not an Apple product.
absolutely great shape. This thing looks
Yeah, it looks in
really
mint
clean.
condition.
Really clean.
Except for some reason, some of the keys are grayed. I think you might need to retrograde them.
Oh, sorry, I was using this earlier.
After changing the oil in his car.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's right.
Oh,
But no,
I
mean,
I
this
like
thing is
what I like
absolutely
what I like
incredible.
what
Thank you, Chris,
RetroTech
for
said.
sending it.
The name suggests they're preparing a cheaper version. Vision
Yeah,
Pro means that there'll be a regular version or
Air.
Vision Air.
I'm gonna say Vision SE.
They'll just call it low vision.
Oh, Vision.
It's the budget. It's the budget. Apple
It's
low
all like
vision.
half blurry. There's a bit of nearsightedness. You're like, oh,
Yeah,
what's
so
going on? And
you
then they
get like
upsell you with a pair of glasses you have to wear
exactly.
in the virtual world.
That's true. They do it like the military, where they give you the BCGs. We
Right.
used to call them the birth control goggles, but the BCGs. Then they make you inserts for your mask, gas mask, and
Okay,
everything. Yep.
there's
Vision bifocals.
there's what would have made Apple's Vision eyes, as I want to call them, really cool if they would have looked like what Ray wore and the original Ghostbusters
Sure.
during the
You know,
during
I
the
can honestly see this springboarding a lot of other development for things, like military, police use, where they're
I'm thinking,
sending stuff in your vision that you could see while you're actually looking at something that's
but
going on live.
did you notice they look like Macho Man Randy Travis's goggles that he wore?
Yeah. Well, what's interesting to me is that they're still so incredibly bulky.
Yeah.
They just look incredibly bulky.
Yeah, but that'll all thin down. There'll be like RetroTech he said, there'll be an Air version which is half the weight, half the functionality, but half the
Mhm.
weight, and people will be like,
That's
"Ooh,
right.
it's slim. It's like the diet version of the Vision."
They'll give you just a
Diet
pair of regular readers from the Dollar Tree.
What do I call him? Randy. I call him Randy Travis. Sorry, Randy Savage. I apologize.
Randy
sir.
Savage, the Macho Man, Randy Savage.
Macho Randy. Yeah,
Macho Man Randy
I saw
Savage.
there's been a bunch of memes this week about the Vision, and one of them was him, and he's like with a face on him. He's like, oh, because he was like the first person to
I
wear
think
them.
the best meme I saw was the one with the snorkel that comes for like $900.
Oh my gosh.
So you can
Read
experience
the
the
policy,
underwater
privacy
aquarium
policy.
in real
Right?
life.
I think it was Action Retro that posted this and said, if you think they're going to sell it for a mere $800, think again.
1,400
Yeah, probably.
American,
Yeah, it's okay.
plus a $10 a month subscription if you want oxygen.
The next down version will be running a 6502 processor.
So there's something you should pipe through ChatGPT. ChatGPT, make me a version of the Apple Vision if it was made in 1988.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't even know how
So
to
it looks-
use ChatGPT.
So it
I've
looks
never
like
used
it
it.
looks like an SE, but
I've never used
Right.
ChatGPT
Well,
before.
it's pretty easy. You just
I
talk
don't even
to
know how the hell you use it.
I don't know either.
I don't even know where you'd go to use it.
ChatGPT.
It's an app you get for your
Is that a
phone.
website?
It's a
Oh, it
website
is?
too, yeah.
Mm,
See, I don't know. I've never used it. I don't know.
I don't know either.
It's Microsoft.
It's too new.
But yeah, the
OpenAI.com. There you go.
Apple Vision
the
came out in
yeah, the
1979.
just to go kind of circle back on that. But yeah, the investors for Apple are all behind like ChatGTP versus maybe
But
Apple needs to refocus their
also,
focus.
I would say they're investors. They're looking
No, I
for
realize
money
they're
on
looking
return. Like
for they're
they're
looking after the
farmers.
dollar
They're
sign.
they're they're people not in tech. There's definitely some tech people. Don't get me wrong, but
Oh man.
it's like people getting mad at Ford for doing something. It's like, oh, I can't believe came out with a new Ford Maverick when it wasn't a car. It was a pickup truck. Meh. It's like, well, boys, we're a car company.
Mm.
We know what we're at. You're an investor.
I'm just saying they might want to refocus. That's all. Because
I don't think
the
so.
future of computers is maybe not all hardware anymore.
But there has to be hardware to run the software.
I
It'll
understand
always
that.
exist
Yeah.
until we put an implant in the head and this becomes the hardware. There's no
But they might want to start shifting slowly.
maybe.
Just be prepared
And
for the future.
I agree with Garth. It would be nicer if the Mac Pro came with a PCIe slot that you could upgrade the graphics card with, or at
Well,
least the
yes.
RAM.
Yeah.
I think that's they're doing themselves a disservice, even though they're moving towards the M stuff. Not having the ability for the Pro to be able to slot in a newer graphics card or something that's not M based, or even if it is M based, maybe they start putting out M based graphics cards so you can upgrade.
And hey, Justin, welcome.
Hey, Justin.
An Apple Vision monitor over an Apple Vision headset. Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Come
that's
out,
not a bad idea.
come out with a new monitor.
But I would imagine that, like, and that's the whole point, is that this can also be your monitor, right? Like the idea is that
Yeah,
you
yeah.
don't have to have a monitor; you can connect. It is the computer,
But
right?
I'm still thinking about eye strain. Like I couldn't imagine sitting with a pair of goggles with everything right
I
here.
know it's like that was one of the memes I saw. It was like back in the day we were told not to sit close to the television.
Yeah.
Today, and it was like an Apple Vision pulled to your
Yeah,
face.
exactly. Yeah.
And I remember like growing up, I had a friend who had actual vision damage from the Virtual Boy. He
Right. Yeah,
actually
you're
had to
saying the
wear
other.
glasses
Yeah.
after because he played the Virtual Boy too much.
Yeah.
Right, and it was
We'll
direct, and
we'll
a lot of people ended up having that eye strain. But
we'll see.
again, that might have been toward because of the red light that was used with Virtual
Oh
Boy,
yeah, no, the red light was yeah. I've seen the
right?
whole thing. Oh hey,
Javier.
Javier,
Well. Look who's not streaming this evening and taking all of
all of our
our
viewers,
viewers.
yeah. And it's not Canadian talk. We have Frank who's in the states.
He's in upstate New York. That's like close
But
to
but
Canadian border.
if you go back on our stream after we end, you can go back on the stream. We did have a Canadian moment.
We did where he talked about Zellers, which is a
Yes.
Canadian version of Kmart.
Yeah.
Frank, what are you typing furiously there?
I'm trying to figure out this Chat GPT thing.
Oh, the
Well,
thing I sent.
wait till after we end.
Yes.
Oh,
Frank
you're
just
just going on. I'm just checking
Frank
this out.
Frank just disappears. All of a sudden, he's
I
replaced with
know.
like a slightly off-putting avatar that kind of looks like Frank, but we know it's kind of
No,
fake.
it's just making me mad.
All
I
right.
think you have to pay to
Should I
use the real
should
Just
I
thing.
use your
talk?
Microsoft account. Oh, you remember? Anyway, sorry.
Yes,
I don't know if
the
we're going
thing.
to announce your thing that we're doing, but once we get the free Microsoft accounts for that thing we're doing, we'll be able to use
That's true.
ChatGPT for free. So
Mhm.
That is true.
yeah,
Should
We can tell anybody you want. I don't care. That's
we're
fine.
opening a museum. It's very
That's
exciting.
true.
the three of us?
So I've already started legal process and paperwork to create a
Oh,
501c3
Hey, Sean
museum.
with Geek with Social Skills. Sorry.
Hey,
hey,
Sean, how are
Sean.
you? So yeah, there's a lot coming out with that, and will be announced in the near future.
We're gonna launder so much money. I mean, sorry,
Mhm.
that was the inside voice
Oh
talking
no, no,
outside.
and that's why we're bringing Will on.
Right. So we have somewhere to put it.
That's
Exactly.
right.
Will's on the board now. Hi, Will.
No, but yeah, in reality, I've talked about this a few times in my own streams and in my own videos. The idea of I've always wanted to have a museum, and sort
Mhm.
of I think there's a desire and a need to collaborate as a retro tech enthusiast, especially because not all places need a full-time museum, but they would be able to avail of it. And there should be support there for education and
Yep.
educators to be able to take materials and provide the history of technology. Because as technology advances so quickly, a lot of people don't think about preserving the history. And as an avid sort of amateur historian, I like to make sure we stop that from happening.
Yep.
So it would be nice to have a facility and also have the ability to actually, what movie was that I was watching recently where the accounting software was on an old IBM 5160? Um,
Weekend at Bernie's?
no, it was like Adam Sandler. It might have been like Knives Out or no,
Oh,
Murder Mystery or one of them.
could be.
Yeah. Anyway, it was really good. It was like they kept it on this old computer. All the bad, like the 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 bad
The
accounting,
cooked books.
the cooked, or sorry, not the non-cooked books that actually showed the real
Yeah.
amounts were kept on an old IBM.
Yep.
Um, anyway, where will the museum be located? I think it'll actually end up being probably located somewhere in New York, just per close to Frank.
Sure.
With the idea being that they offer services and the ability for
But
anybody to utilize
yes.
their
Yeah.
So the whole
collection.
premise behind the museum is we will have items that can be loaned to other museums or member museums as it's going to be.
Yeah,
So the whole premise is like people like let's just say for example, like VCF or Kansas Fest or any of the other museums that are already established out there can become member museums. I believe KFest is a 501c3 as well as VCF East and things like that.
I know
But
VCF is.
museums like Joe that might not be 501c3 or anybody else that has smaller museums, they can actually utilize the 501c3 abilities and functions of the main organization, so that they can actually use things and take advantage of grants or donations that are tax exempt and stuff like that without actually having to go through their own 501c3
Yeah,
process.
kind of how I think like the United Way works. The
Yeah, it'd
United
be like a
Way takes,
consortium
yeah,
essentially.
yeah,
Yep,
yeah, and like Will says, yes, and an interactive online museum that works only on the Apple Vision Pro.
that's right. But you have to pay $4,500.
Right, and you get a free Apple Alps-based keyboard to use while you're using your Vision Pro, so that if you feel that it's more authentic.
Yeah,
Um,
but with the museum, basically what it's going to happen is all of the pieces and stuff will be cataloged and inventoried and stuff, but they won't necessarily all be on display here at this physical location that's being set up. It will be available, like let's say that you needed it for an exhibit somewhere else. You can actually, you know,
Rent
check
it
them
out.
out essentially.
yeah, almost
You
like a
know,
library.
yeah, yeah,
And I would think we could go one step further. Like currently, my collection is indexed for film and TV use.
yep,
And
Mm.
so I feel like we could also do the same then with the
yep,
museum,
absolutely,
and that would be a revenue generating aspect of the museum, so that
sure,
Great.
when I don't know, Steven Spielberg is doing his next '80s cult classic movie that he's
hmm
going to film, he can get a pile of whatever X, Y, and Z from us and
sure,
utilize it and pay a per diem and whatnot, and then have access to guaranteed working devices, and
yeah,
have one of us on set even to be a technical advisor. Like I've done that for a few local productions recently that have been pretty cool
Nice.
to work on. So there's often avenues that your collection you might not think about for
hmm
use for your collection, that are beneficial to both the history side of things, but also I look at film and I'm sure everybody else, I watch movies all the time and I'm like, that's not historically accurate, and it ruins the movie for me,
yeah.
right? Like, either if it's related to cars or if it's related to tech, I'm like, I'm the worst person to watch that movie with.
But the
Like Stranger Things, I will give them credit, have basically knocked it out of the park when it comes to tech and cars. There has been very little that I've been like, that's not really appropriate for 1985 or 1986. For the most part, they've done pretty good. I will, their Vanagon, I think, is actually a water cooled Vanagon, which would have
yeah.
came out in '84. So would a high school student who has a pizza delivery job really have that as a vehicle? Maybe not, because it's too new. But I'll let it
Yeah.
slide. Maybe his family's rich. Um, you know, Stuff like
But
that doesn't bother me, but yeah,
this isn't limited to Apple or Mac stuff.
no
It's going to be for all vintage, tech equipment, computers, everything. Yeah.
pets,
So we're trying to build a bigger collection of
right?
things,
Mm.
And
not just in one location,
and
but
as a
across the
cli-
globe.
Yeah, and as a conglomerate, we can work better to make sure that, if, for example, there's a need for 30 or 40 Macintoshes for a lab scene in a high school for
Sure.
an 80s movie or
We can pull
a 90s
resources
movie,
from
we can
multiple
pull
locations.
resources and make sure that they're all delivered. And, there's
Yep.
insurance involved, and there's lots of things that we have to work out. But
Mhm.
the idea is that we work together now to do it, as opposed to trying to do it in 10 or 15
On the
years
Sure.
when
fly.
this stuff
Yeah.
is even harder to find. Like, I look at, like, not to go on a tangent here, but you look at like World War II movies.
Mhm.
In the 60s and the 50s, it was easier to do World War II movies with period accurate
Of course.
vehicles,
Oh, sure.
because there was
They
still
were
a lot of
readily available.
they were
Yeah.
readily
Yeah.
available. And as the time has moved, all that has gone now digital for the most part, because it's
Mhm.
almost impossible to find those vehicles. And there are a couple of production houses that own most of those World War II vehicles now and make a fortune renting them too. So if we're smart now and we start collecting things, and I mean even collecting things now, like we say, okay, well, when I'm done using my MacBook Air, we'll put it away, right? Like when I
Yeah, it'll
retire a
get
piece.
inventoried, specs, all that
Yeah,
good stuff,
Mhm.
and
and you can
put
put
in the
away, and in
system.
15 years, somebody will be doing a piece that's set in 2023, and they go, "Oh, we need a MacBook from 2023. Oh, call up whatever. I don't know. We're going to
Yep.
say the name of it yet, but when we get to there, we'll. And we'll have it. It'll be on a shelf somewhere. Oh, that's in Ryan's collection in Canada. We'll get him to ship that down tomorrow, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, Tuck.
Er,
But by the way, speaking of World War II stuff,
yeah,
so Canada had the last diesel submarines
correct.
in
Mhm.
service. And several years ago, we finally retired them after buying used ones from the UK.
Now, sorry, I will preface that fully diesel submarines. We still have diesel
Yeah.
submarines. They're just diesel,
Oh yeah, no,
proper
these
diesel
these
electric
were
now.
these
Yeah.
were only diesel. Yeah,
Diesel, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And so they were selling them off for $10 a piece.
yep.
The only thing and they were sitting in where I grew up in Halifax. Like you could see them sit, all three of them sitting there.
Why, actually, Sean, I can.
um, do you only want one or do you want two?
Is it
You
in
need a whole
stereo?
call center.
Is it in stereoscopic vision? Because we can provide two.
Right.
I like how we both
That's
had
funny.
them like within arm's
Yeah,
reach.
I know, right?
I didn't put mine away. It's still sitting
I
here.
didn't
So
See,
either,
that's
but if
how
I could,
valuable these phones are, folks. They take them with them everywhere, to the
yes,
bathroom, to
yeah.
work, to bed,
so
whatever. You
so
gotta keep them handy.
so to go back to the submarine, I was talking actually to somebody
We all live in a yellow
who
submarine.
worked when I was doing tech support for Logitech, and I was talking to a guy who actually worked on building U.S. submarines,
Hmm.
nuclear submarines, and I was telling him that hey, they're $10. They're sitting down the harbor. Like I pass by them every time I go to and from work. And he said, and I said, I want to live in a submarine, but not in the water, because they rust. Put it on land.
Hmm.
And he said, but there's all these engines and stuff. And I said, but it's on land. I wouldn't need all the engines. I said, can you come up and do the work? I'll do all your free tech support. But he never
Yeah,
took me up on that.
I
That
mean,
is true.
and you look at, like, after World War II, there was a huge influx of like German half tracks and a bunch of,
Yeah.
like, in Canada, for example, we have Princess Auto, which is our equivalent to like Harbor Freight down in the U.S.
Sure.
And
Mhm.
Princess Auto actually started selling surplus of Canadian military vehicles. And one of
Mhm.
their first catalogs, they had like the Sherman tank, and it was like 10 uses for the Sherman tank, non-military uses, and like a bunch of farmers bought them because they make great tractors, right?
Mhm.
Right.
So they literally had thousands of these tanks that were brought back, and they had no need for them. So they gave
Up
them,
here.
they sold them to the farmers for $500 or $600. And now you can't find them. Like, to find a proper Sherman tank that's decked out appropriately for
Yeah.
Canadian use is like, you're going to
Um,
pay a fortune.
the,
10.
the one thing you had to prove, though, Javier, was you were not going to attack anyone else using the submarine.
Right, or use it to bring a lot of coke into a country.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
key. You could say that's kilo.
Oh.
Or key lime in your area.
So
Correct.
should I talk about my topic before
Yes,
Yep.
let's
we
go.
Go for
Actually,
it, Trina.
we've been
end?
live for an hour and we haven't touched any actual topics this evening.
But we kind of have. We've been talking tech
So we're
stuff
full
in
circle.
general.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
fair enough.
yeah, yeah. So I figured since it's Pride Month, I'm going to try to keep like pride and
She's gonna try to keep the
tech.
gay agenda going. Yeah,
I'm,
go
I'm
on,
keeping
Trina.
I'm keeping the gay agenda going. Hold on, I got to get out my notebook here.
Now, have you all sat down and agreed to this is the actual agenda? Like, was there a meeting held of the secret,
Yes, yeah,
dark,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
shady gay society?
Yes, there was.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
As
yeah,
long as,
yeah.
long as they're all on the same page, so,
All gazillion of us that are out there. Um, be surprised.
sorry, that choose to be out there
Well, yeah, well, it's true too.
because it's a choice, right?
No, and it's true because as I mentioned the other night, I had invited somebody to be on the Trina's Retro Repair Roundup coming up on the 18th because I will be the host, so I get to put my name on it. And they're afraid to be on it to be out. And they said,
Did you offer them to come in via Geek with Social Skills as one giant eyeball,
I
for
did,
example?
I did. I said you don't have to be on camera, but she just declined and said I don't want to be
Okay,
even
fair enough,
anything
fair
out
enough.
there. And I said
Did you
that's
ask? Did you invite her
totally
to at
fair.
least be in the chat?
Yes, I said you
Okay,
are more than welcome. Feel free to
awesome,
chat.
awesome.
So she said
So
I
how
prefer we
is
do
my
that.
birthday stream progressing, by the way?
Yes, that's right. It is your birthday, isn't it?
Yep, the 18th, Trina's stream.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh, it is. It's going well. I just have to send out. I am sorry. I said I was going to send out the agenda for the meeting.
I knew there was an
see,
agenda.
see, there
I
is an
told you.
agenda. And I never got around to it. I'm hoping to get it sent out tomorrow. This week's just
Awesome.
been shit. So
But you still have a full house?
I still have
Sweet.
everybody coming on. Yeah. No,
That's
nobody's
awesome.
backed out.
Yes,
So
it's a full house of
Fantastic.
queens.
yeah. Oh, and to answer, how is the? I'm just going to answer Will before I can go on to my talk. So I've had the one, and she's gone off to Europe for 3 weeks.
Wow,
That
Trina.
happens all the time.
You scare
It's
them away
ridiculous.
so badly they literally leave the country. Wow, that's impressive.
No, it's actually she goes every year to. There's a concert over in. She goes to England because she has family in England,
Okay.
and then she goes to the
Nobody goes to England.
I think the Netherlands. It is. She mentioned.
There's the Dutch. If there's two things I hate in this world, it's people who are ignorant of other people's culture, and the Dutch.
And yeah, so and there's a concert, like it's a 3-day concert where you camp out and she goes every year. So
Yeah, it's
she's
the
going.
Windmill Festival.
Is it Coachella?
No, it's
the
Windchella.
or
It's Windchella.
the fire festival.
Ah, yes,
Oh,
that one
Yeah,
too.
yeah, I saw a whole documentary on that. Oh,
yes.
mm. Anyway,
But anyway, continuing.
so yeah, so
That was a nice tangent there.
Will is Dutch, so watch yourself.
What's it called?
oh,
What's his name? Whistler Simon. That was a nice tangent there, Simon.
hey, no problem. I've been watching a lot of her shows, so I've been trying to find, because it's Pride Month. I've been trying to find articles that are tech and kind of
Pride adjacent.
LGBT,
Yeah.
yeah, LGBT plus. So Twitter's safety chief resigns as Elon Musk says dead naming definitely allowed in anti-trans film row. So Alan Irwin, who took over the head of trust and safety just back in November,
Wow.
has
That's a very short
already,
tenure.
yeah, left as of June 1st, Thursday, June 1st. And now, to be fair, she also
To be
hasn't,
fair.
and she has declined to provide a reason for her decision. So the title's kind of misleading. They're saying it's because of this, but she has declined to provide a reason for her decision.
Okay, so I mean, it could very well be, but it could also be
It could
something
be.
completely unrelated.
Now, during her short time, oh, actually, sorry, I meant
Link
to
in the
post the
chat.
link in the chat. Let me
Yep.
do that so everybody can read along with me.
Before you continue, on an unrelated note, I hate how you can't actually post comments in uh, StreamYard into
It
the
is
regular
silly.
chat. That is foolish. Anyway,
Yeah.
continue.
Oh, I
Wait,
can
so
because I'm.
nobody got my link earlier I posted for Will's things to buy?
Maybe you have to be an admin. Maybe I can't because I'm not an admin.
Oh, I don't know.
That's foolish still, because guests need to be able to post, and I'm a guest. Anyway, Trina,
Yeah.
no more
Oh,
interruption
it
from
did.
the white
Sorry,
old
go
guy.
ahead.
You can go ahead.
So yeah. So during her short time in the role, Irwin headed the Twitter team that fought hate speech, removed offensive and abusive content, tackled disinformation, and helped maintain the social media sites platform integrity. which
So, just a quick question, Trina, from the back
yeah.
room here. How long was she actually at Twitter?
It says okay, so it says she took a position. So Irwin, or sorry, Ella took over as head of trust, a position tasked with the current moderation after the previous head, Yole, I don't know how to say it, Roth, left in November. So
So
sometime
I got it
between November and the 1st of June.
of 2021 or 2022.
Yeah,
So
2022 to
so I got to ask, what the hell
2023.
did she do for her job? Because I've seen Twitter. It is a pile of disinformation
Oh,
and
it has been.
terribly
Yeah.
inappropriate posts. So I got to say she was either in completely nerfed in her ability to do her job, or didn't actually do her job.
Or was I think she was partly handcuffed, not
That that's
legitimately.
that that's what nerfed means, like
Yeah,
nerfed.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Yeah, she was handcuffed by Elon
and
because
not in the fun way.
no, no, no fun. They weren't fuzzy. Um,
They
but
don't have to be
Now
fuzzy.
Twitter has experienced a significant backlash, and how it's failed to remove anti-LGBT plus, which I keep seeing popping up more and more. Rhetoric, hate speech, blah 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 blah. Yeah, just after. Oh, so Irwin's departure. So this is the girl. Happened just a short while after Musk's Elon was criticized for the dissemination of Matt Walsh's anti-trans "What Is a Woman" film on Twitter. So that was up for about a day. It got a lot of backlash. It was also tagged with hate. Was issued a hateful tag on Twitter because of the
Hashtag
film.
hate speech.
Yeah, basically.
See,
Um,
I honestly believe that Elon Musk bought Twitter not for it to be a successful company, but to take it down.
oh yeah,
Like
totally.
100%.
He's
Now
Like
like,
it's
here's
not meant to survive.
he's
but
like, how can we
here's
make a dumpster fire even
Yep.
more of a dumpster fire?
Yep.
and also so the incident resulted in two, not just Irwin, but somebody else also departed. AJ Brown, Twitter's head of brand safety and ad quality,
Not
both
Murphy
within a
Brown.
day.
Murphy Brown.
Not Murphy Brown, no. And here's what I didn't realize. During his time as Twitter CEO, Musk, whose trans daughter has publicly disowned him. I did not realize he had a trans daughter who absolutely despises him. I read the article on that as well. Yeah, she is trying to change her name right now, like first and last, so that she has nothing to do with him, which is wow. Anyway. So yeah, so
Yep.
that's not only is he having the company being a dumpster fire, his whole family life's being a dumpster fire. And what have I learned from the casual criminalist? Do not treat your kids like shit
Rule
because
number
they will
two.
turn out to be serial killers.
That is rule number two.
That's rule number two.
Rule number one is don't write down your crimes.
Exactly. They're supposed to. He's coming out with a book.
He has a book,
Apparently,
yes.
yeah, he has a notebook that he's coming out with.
He's trying to
Um,
find a good publisher because right now he's paying like $17 or $18 a unit,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
I
costing
saw,
him
I
too much
saw that,
money.
I saw that. Yeah. Anyway, back to that. But yeah, so interesting enough, yeah, he has a daughter who is trans, who is not his biggest supporter, as you can guess from the fact that she wants to change not only her first name but her last name, so she has nothing to do with that side of it.
I believe she
It's his
already did.
Yeah.
what the
To
article I
Vivian Jenna Wilson, correctly? No?
the article I was reading on Pink News just said that she was looking into it and she had filed in California court, but I didn't look in it further, so I don't know if she has successfully done
And
that.
California court moves about as fast as New York State does, so
Yeah,
that could take a while.
yeah. As we found out from the shipping from Frank, which was supposed to arrive on Wednesday, and I'm still, although it's now here in Mississauga, it's at least on this side of the border. Now
Hmm.
we just got to get those guys to move their earth and actually bring it to Toronto.
Guaranteed
Right.
there's a Canadian postal workers like that box is too heavy, I'm not moving it. Sorry,
So
I like to talk like this when I want to feel like I'm talking as a McDonald's like drive-through person.
okay, all right.
Do you
Welcome
want
to
do you
Good
want
Burger, home of the
Oh,
good burger
don't
in
and
the
spit
by
in
fifth
that
door.
cop's burger?
I don't think Will got my joke today on his stream.
Oh,
So he was showing off the Mac. something something.
Return of the Mac.
No, it was the Macometer, I think it was called.
Hmm.
And I asked if there was a big Macometer. Thinking of
Special
it, Jeremy.
sauce.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about something. There's two things I want to talk about tonight.
Okay.
Frank, I don't know if you want to talk before me, but um, so
Uh,
just in a show of chat, how many places that you guys live do you have Uber? The show of hands
I don't think we have Uber here.
in New York
I
State. I'm
mean,
pretty sure.
technically, I guess we do.
Yeah, in New York State you have
We
Uber.
have
I live in the
Uber.
middle of nowhere, and
Yeah,
I
but
don't take public
but
transportation besides
in
an
New York
airplane.
City you can get an Uber.
Right.
Yeah. So Uber is finally, or sorry, the city of St. John's, which is the city I live in, Newfoundland, is finally decided after many years of us requesting it to allow Uber to start up shop. They've started the initial um, discussions, we'll say, to allow Uber to be legally here in Newfoundland. It took literally people being robbed and people being raped. I know we can't say the R word, so I apologize. Sexually assaulted before the city of St. John's would actually allow that.
Wow.
So basically, we have a terrible cab, and I'm going to get on a soapbox here now. We have a terrible cab industry here in Newfoundland, which is predominantly owned by two individuals or two families who lobby the government to prevent Uber from coming here. And their big argument here now is that cab companies are the insurance is too expensive, and that they can't find reliable drivers. And that Uber won't work because they'll have the same problem. Um, I love Uber. I've been a fan of Uber since I first was able to use it in the United States and in Europe in decade or more ago, whenever it was. It's a fantastic mode of transit. I think that every province, city, town, state, country should allow it. I think it breeds um, innovation and it allows people to be self-sufficient and be their own business person. So I'm a huge Uber fan, and our cab companies here in Newfoundland have fought. You should read the Uber stories from Mexico City. Uber, and again, I'm not saying Uber's perfect. I mean, they've had their own issues when it comes to sexual assault and that kind of stuff. But I think in the last few years, they've done a better job than even our local cab company has um, at uh, at addressing the issues. We're a small province. We have 600,000 people, and our capital city has around 250,000 people in the general area. We'll say. 150 to 200,000 general people in the general area. It can take up to 3 hours right now to get a cab. And so I have friends who perform downtown in our bar district, which, by the way, Newfoundland has the most bars per square foot of any place in the
Mm-hmm.
world. We have a street called George Street that is 100% and even slightly higher than 100% uh, bars. There are literally bars inside of bars. So, and bars inside of bars inside of bars inside of bars. So, if you're looking for a good time, I highly recommend George Street. If you ever get a chance to come to Newfoundland, it is one hell of a time. Anyway, yeah, it can take up to 2 to 3 hours to get a cab if you're waiting downtown. I've had friends who are performers who have been robbed not once but twice of their livelihoods because their instruments were stolen because they were waiting for a cab. So yeah, to say I'm a little pissed about the fact that Uber hasn't been allowed here previously would be a bit of an understatement. So yeah, that's my talk today: is how technology can innovate certain sectors to be better than they were before. And I think everybody can argue that the ability to literally get an app to get a car to come pick you up and not have to transact money in paper form is the best thing in the world because it's safer for the drivers, it's safer for the user, and if that cab or that mode of transit is owned by the individual driving, I think there's a much higher pride of ownership
Sure.
and a much better vehicle. Like, here we have Honda Civics that are probably 15 to 20 years old, driving around with 300,000 kilometers or more on them with no suspension. And I made the joke today, and I apologize if it's insensitive, but the dashboard is lit up like Hiroshima in 1945. With all the emergency lights because the cars aren't maintained and it's terribly dangerous. The tires are bald and the drivers are absolute maniacs. It's only recently that I noticed the cab companies in Newfoundland were asking for driving abstracts and vulnerable sector checks. That should have been a thing since day one. Like they should have required you to say, I'm not a rapist, I'm not a robber, I'm not a murderer, I'm not a drug dealer, I'm not a like that should have just been
Hmm.
from day one. But the fact that they're only asking for that now shows me that they didn't care and that they deserve to die as an industry. So I am 100% a proponent of Uber, and I hope and cannot wait for them to take over Newfoundland and destroy the cab industry. So I stand.
Although I, I I used to work in the cab industry, so I kind of side with the cab drivers. But what I hope is that with Uber coming in, it will make the cab company be better,
I would hope so. I would hope that because
right?
that's my argument is that competition breeds innovation.
Right.
Monopolies breed complacency.
Hmm.
And right now we
Is
have
there
a
only one?
monopoly.
Is there only one cab
There are
company in
two
New?
cab companies. They're owned by two families, and they collude
Oh,
and
okay.
they lobby the government together as one entity, right? And so their
Yeah,
big
yeah.
argument is, oh, there's no money. The insurance is too expensive. Well, first off, you hire drivers that are terrifying and have criminal backgrounds and
Oh,
drive like maniacs in vehicles that are not fit for the road. So yes, your insurance is going to be higher because the insurance companies know exactly what you're up to.
does St. John's not have like a cab commission that is like,
Yeah,
here's
yeah.
how old the car can be, like, does not inspect these cars?
Nope, they're left up to because they're commercial vehicles. They've been inspected every year, and they're inspected by usually garages that are owned by the cab companies.
Oh, jeez.
The literally the foxes are running the hen house,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? Like I've had cabs show up like literally. I'm not joking. A 2008 Honda Civic with 400,000 or 500,000 kilometers on it. Literally, the dash was brighter than a Christmas tree because every light was on. The steering wheel's airbag was duct taped in with tuck
Oh,
tape.
jeez.
The place it didn't have a straight panel on it. It had replacement bumpers that were different colors that had been poorly painted to match the car cab company, and the tires were balder than I am,
Oh my god.
and it was the middle of winter. So
Yeah,
I understand why they're saying, oh, the insurance companies are abusing us, blah blah blah. No, I understand why the insurance companies are because your cars are freaking terrifying.
yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I don't mean to rant. Sounds like Ryan hates Japanese things. No, I don't at all. I've owned several Japanese cars. I love Japanese.
Oh, and by the way, just to touch on Retro Techie's uh, dig, I went through 4 criminal
Yeah,
background
I
checks.
I
I
have to
had
get
to
one.
do.
I have to get background checks every year or every couple of years for the school.
Mhm. Yeah.
Right? Like anybody who works like that's the terrifying thing is like the fact that you don't have to have that as a cab driver. Like, who's to say you're not picking up somebody who's underage?
Mhm.
Who's to say you're
Mhm.
not picking up somebody who's mentally handicapped or has some disability that would make them more vulnerable than the average person? Right? Like that is terrifying. The fact that they're only just now asking for that.
Yeah.
Like anyway, just sorry, I don't mean to get on a soapbox, but that was something that happened today that I saw that really bothered me. Um,
Right. Right.
and our public transit here is terrible, and I don't think it should get any better because our city's not built for public transit, and I
Mm.
would like to see us go some of the towns in the United States that I've seen who basically instead of getting public transit, they've subsidized Uber. So they've said basically the sit-in fee or the first $10-15 of Uber is covered by the city, and that actually ended
Okay.
up being cheaper than having public transit on the road,
Hmm.
right? So and honestly, most like if you're moving from a couple of places downtown to another place downtown, it's not going to cost you that much. But right now, the
Right.
sit-in fee for a cab is like $6.
What?
Yeah,
It's only $3 here in Toronto.
I think it's like 4.75 or five something.
The only
Yeah,
place I've ever taken a cab was in Israel. I've never had a cab
was
here
it a
in the States.
was it a Mercedes
It
80s
was.
Mercedes? See, I
No,
knew
no,
it.
no. It was a new Mercedes.
Okay,
It
newer
was a
Nice.
Mercedes.
Mercedes, but it
Nice.
was new. Like like only a year old probably.
But see,
The
that's
only
what I like
place I've
about
ever taken
Uber
a
is you
cab.
see you see who your driver is, and if the picture on the thing doesn't match the person who picks you up, you report them. There's a button,
Mhm.
right? Because they're not who they say they are.
Although
You get reviews. You can see they sometimes have snacks. Like I would also like to be an Uber driver. I think I would be hilarious as an Uber driver.
I actually had to call Uber on one of their drivers. So I was coming back the other day and cutting through the back alley here. because I was just coming from the dollar store, so which is right across from it. So what's the
Right.
point of walking around the building? Um, and there was a guy literally smoking from a bong, and then got back in his car that had Uber plastered all over it. And I
Yeah.
went,
It's legal in
huh?
the States.
Not to drive while you're intoxicated. Not here. You're not allowed
Yeah,
to
it's not.
consume alcohol or smoke pot while
Oh,
you're
you
driving.
can't here in the States.
Well, yeah, they.
Certain states you can. I don't think it's all the states though. In
Here in
Europe,
New York, I
you,
think.
you're allowed to drink until you're intoxicated in your car. Then
But
it's
yeah,
legal.
I called Uber right away, and I'm like, you might want to stop this
But
guy
but
from
that's
driving.
but that's my point is that the fact you could call somebody and make that complaint.
Yes.
Here in Newfoundland, you complain about a cab driver and they just tell you to go pound sand,
Oh wow.
right? Like they don't care. They might say, "Oh, we'll take your consideration. Yes, we'll care about that," but they don't.
Wow.
In Mexico, drivers are hired by the car owner. Yeah, and that's allowed here too. But the person in the app is supposed to be the person that picks you up, even if they are a hired person.
Hmm.
At least that's how
Yeah.
it was explained to me here in Canada.
Yeah. So maybe Canada has different rules than Mexico, which
Possibly, or the Canadian market is more highly, um, what's the word, regulated
yeah.
than
Could be.
maybe the
If you can high, you can be arrested for
yeah.
driving under the influence. Yeah.
Same
Same
here.
here.
If you're caught with a car, if you're caught with open pot or open liquor in your car, you can still be charged with impaired, even if you don't test as impaired.
Mm-hmm.
I
Same here.
driving through town now that it's legal here in New York. Driving through town, like you see people literally smoking
So that's
pot
the funny
in
thing.
their cars, just going down the street, up and down. You'll
That's
sit in traffic, you could smell it.
that's the funny thing. Like I find it
Yep.
funny. Like people are like, "Oh, I'm smoking pot while I'm driving." Like I'm a regular person and I can smell it. And I know it's the car in front of me. Like
Yeah.
they have to realize cops can do it too.
Well, cops are in traffic
Right?
too. They don't care. They're not pulling these people over.
That's foolish. Like that's
Happens all the
Yeah.
time.
anyway.
I'm telling you, every day.
It's
Every
interesting
day.
here in Toronto. You know those little electric scooters.
Yep.
So a while ago they were illegal here in
I saw
Ontario,
a
They were,
documentary
yeah.
recently on them. Like the
and
company went crap.
Yeah, it was a very like big like but it was also
Yeah.
like a fraud thing. Like they were
Yeah,
funneling
like they
money
had
or
them at
something.
They
Yeah.
had them here at Cornell University all over the
Yeah.
place. Now you don't see them. I think it was like Lime or something like that.
Yeah. It was a
but
green.
Yeah,
we still have a lot of people who ride them.
Yeah.
So in a
But they're,
lot of
I guess we
Ontario,
sent them all to Canada. I don't know.
no,
in
I
a
think they're privately owned.
Oh,
what the scooters?
Or
the
is it a ride
Canadians?
share?
No, I'm talking scooters.
No,
Just
yeah, the
little electric
electric
scooters that
scooter.
you
Yeah.
hop
Yeah,
onto
you
and
in here like a
Yeah. So
Cornell,
it's a ride
you
share.
do an app. Yeah, you do an app
no,
and then
no,
you rent
okay,
the
I'm
scooter.
not talking taxi. I'm talking something you stand on
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
and
yeah,
it
yeah.
scoots
Me
you
Sorry.
too.
down the road.
That's what I'm
It's a
talking
ride
about.
share. It's like
Yeah.
you could go to there's a
Oh yeah,
company
but no,
here
but
that you can get a
you can
car.
also buy them.
Right.
Well, oh yeah,
Yes.
but what I'm talking about is they had rentals here, but they all
Oh
disappeared.
yeah, no, we don't have
Like
rentals
the
here.
company went
Right.
We
out of
That's
have
what I
business
was
or
asking. I
something.
said
yeah, yeah,
they're
Yeah,
sorry.
probably personally owned.
Yeah, they are
yeah, yeah.
personally owned. But it's interesting. So in Ontario a while ago, it was illegal
Hmm.
to have them.
Right.
And then
Wait,
they
even
let
personally?
yeah, personally, yeah.
Oh
But then
wow,
the
interesting.
environmentalists got on the case.
And but here's the best part, because we're talking about police pulling over people who are smoking weed. It's still illegal here in Toronto only, the only city
Oh,
out of the whole province to own or drive one of them.
you gave me an idea.
And but the police don't do anything about it. Like there's
I-
so many of them around.
I'm gonna put a seat on top of that robot and I'm gonna ride that sucker everywhere. I
I'll be back in a
just
minute,
thought
guys. I
about
gotta
that.
pee.
Okay.
Yep,
No.
I just thought about that. I was like, holy crap, that thing will hold 220 pounds. I'm gonna strap a seat on that baby and
Um.
ride it through town.
Oh, okay. Sorry, you said 220, right?
Yeah, 220
Okay.
pounds.
I for a second my mind went 120, and I was gonna say I'm behind you way over 120.
Oh, I definitely weigh over 120.
That's why I was like, you might want to
But no, we
rethink that.
had so on campus at Cornell, they had them for years. Those scooters, they were
Yeah,
like
yeah.
green, and they had like a QR code. You scan it, you pay to use it, and it unlocks somehow. And then you can ride it wherever you're going, the electric scooter, and then you
Right,
park
right.
it, and then leave it there, and somebody else comes along and rent it.
They have the same kind of thing here with bicycles, but they're just
Oh,
real
okay.
bicycles, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah. I
you
think they
scan a
have like
QR code and
Yeah, I
it
think
keeps
they have
going.
like those wheel lock thingies like grocery carts have now once they pass the certain point at the grocery store. It doesn't
With
like the wheel
with
locks up.
with the bikes, it's just you can go
Hmm.
wherever you want to go. and you just when you return it, that's when it charges you. Because then it knows how long, like it charges you by the, I think by the either the hour or half hour.
Oh,
I've
that's
never used
interesting.
one of them.
Hmm.
But yeah, they do. So obviously, yeah, and then you just lock it up. And I assume they must have some kind of GPS on them because, like, yay, what happens if I take it
I
for a
know
gazillion?
exactly. It's
Like,
gotta have something,
yeah,
some
they
type
must have
of
some.
cellular GPS
Yeah,
stuff.
right.
So
Well,
that's
I would
expensive
I would assume
by itself.
when you scan the barcode with your phone that it tracks like what,
I'm sure. Yeah, it's gotta
like it's got to have
radios
a
up
way
to
of
the server
tracking.
and say, hey,
Yeah.
fair
Well, on top,
started, unlock itself,
you probably
whatever.
I figure you because I said I never used it, but I would figure you need an account which
Yeah,
would
I
have
would
your
assume so.
which would have your information and your credit card number.
Yep. Yep.
So if you steal the bike,
Charge you. Yep.
guess what? They're going to charge your credit card to it.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
What I miss?
We're just talking about stealing bikes.
Ah, yes.
So we're almost an hour and a half in. I don't know if we wanted to end it here and then invite whoever they want to join
Yeah,
offline,
I don't think I
That
have
essentially.
sounds
anything else to talk
that
about.
sounds good.
Yeah, me
I
neither.
had something, but I completely forgot what it was. So I got really
Well,
agitated about the Uber thing.
but hold on to whatever it was. We
Okay.
have next week.
That's
All right,
true.
fair enough. I'm
Right.
sure it'll
Write
come
it
back
So
to
down.
me.
yeah, if it comes to you, write it down.
Did I talk about the Windows XP activation key
Yeah,
being
last
Yep,
week.
last
last
week?
week.
I thought
Last
Yep,
so.
week
I thought so.
yep, yep,
you
yep.
put us all to sleep with your talk about it.
Yeah,
Of course. Cool.
Bueller.
So if anybody wants to join, feel free to
Yep.
Well,
join.
let's end this properly
We
before we
will
just say yeah.
end the stream. So
So thanks
Thanks for
everyone for
joining.
joining.
yep.
Don't
Yep.
forget to hit like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Ring the
Sure.
bell. We only do this once a week,
We
so you
we
won't get.
also before Trina came on, myself and Frank talked, but we'll bring Trina into the fold now. We talked about possibly having some merch in the future and maybe a
Yep.
website.
Oh,
So
okay.
keep your ears out for that in
Why
the
aren't
not
you
too distant
talking in the
future.
group chat about this so I can keep up to
Because
date?
literally it came up like before
Oh,
you arrived.
in
Just before.
conversation
Oh,
right
I
before
see.
you
Yeah,
logged in. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. I'm like, why aren't you talking about this?
And
Yeah. No.
unfortunately
No.
we hadn't hit the go live button, so we didn't have to repeat it twice.
That's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
So well done, Frank.
And honestly though,
Next time. Next time.
but we're gonna make you. Can Ryan be a moderator with me, or is it only one of us?
You both are on the YouTube, but
No,
on
no, no. But I'm talking
StreamYard
about
you can only add
StreamYard.
one person.
Okay, so
Okay.
next week I will keep my eye out in the upper right to
Yeah,
see, does it still say go live after we start talking?
Good idea. Good idea. Well,
that's
guys,
true.
thanks
Because
for hanging out with
I
us
can
for the
hit that.
last hour and 27 minutes and 16 seconds. We
Feel free
appreciate
to
you here.
join in
Yeah,
Feel free to
when
we
we
join,
are gonna
and
shut the stream
we're
off.
going to end it here.
Frank will share the link in the usual
Yes,
places,
I'm gonna link it.
so you can join in and we can
Yep.
talk. I do need to run to the bathroom though.
Actually, I can just put it right into the chat
There you go.
for
Well,
everybody to see.
yeah. Oh, good. Oh,
Because we'll
good.
be offline, so whatever.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, but the people still can see it though.
Yeah, but it's not the same link every week.
Yeah.
No. But I'm still saying I have some people I don't want to see this.
Ah, too late. It's
Um,
already
Who's
in there.
looking?
What's that?
Who's looking?
I don't see them in the
I don't
chat.
know
I'm
either.
hoping, yeah.
Anyway,
And it's not on my channel, so
And we can also not let them join if we don't know who they
that's
are.
true.
So there you
yeah,
go.
true enough.
We have the
All right.
buttons.
And on that note,
Okay.
and on
Thanks
that
everyone
bombshell,
for joining.
good night.
Yep.
And we'll
Have
see
a
you
good
next
night,
week.
all. We'll see you next week.
Sorry. No, don't end it. Don't end it. Don't end it.
And
Don't forget to join me this week. I'm taking over Dave's Sunday stream. So I will
scene.
be streaming this Sunday from
Singing over
AM
the
Eastern.
Trina can't
Yeah.
talk. Singing over Trina can't talk. Now go ahead, Trina. You can talk now.
So Trina is streaming this Sunday on Dave's stream.
Yes, I am.
We're still live.
We're still
Yeah,
live.
I see that. Yeah.
So join us. It's going to be fun.
So
We're
yeah,
gonna make,
so I'm
make fun of
taking over
Dave,
Dave's stream because he's out murdering people or
or wedding as he calls it.
yeah, he
Yeah.
calls it a wedding. I think what he's really
You know
doing
what?
I think the
You know what?
technical term is purge.
We should
is
submit.
working on the
We
railroad.
should submit Dave to to the casual criminalist and get Simon
Yes,
to
we
do a
really
video on him.
should. as an
That's a hoot.
unsolved case.
Unsolved. Yeah,
Unsolved mystery.
yeah.
Where did all
Eh,
those women with those
So
masks
yes,
go in California?
you can find me on the YouTube at Frodo Jedi or Old World Tech Fridays or mostly everybody else's stream. Trina, where can they find you?
So under Trina's Technobabble on YouTube, you can also find me as I will be hosting the Retro Repair Roundup, June 18th. We're having a LGBTQ because it's not. It's we also have a non-binary person, so I don't want
Which
to
is
say.
totally was Ryan's idea and not Trina's. So she
Yeah,
says it
well,
was her
yeah.
idea. It was my
I'm still.
idea.
I'm going to steal it from you. So tough luck. Um, you can also find me on Twitter at TechnoBabbleT.
And you can find me on Mastodon under at Ryan Hayward at bishbang.social. You can also find me on Everything's Broken Garage at YouTube, which is mostly car stuff these days, but there will be some retro tech stuff coming up shortly. As I find something interesting to film, I have lots of interesting projects coming up, but whether or not I decide to film them and edit them is a whole other kettle of fish. But thanks, guys.
Or just live stream them.
Or just live streaming.
Yeah.
But
That's
thanks,
true.
guys, for joining us this evening. And I'm
Yes,
going to
thank
get
you all.
Garth to hit, or Garth, Jesus, Frank to hit that
Yep.
button there now to end
And
the stream. And
join us
if you
in
want
the
to join
after
us,
party.
feel free. Join us for the after party.